It's been a long way. Some bad things might have happened.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
There's a tempest in me. You have not seen what I have seen. Stab, twist, gut. Come at me.
Wait till you see them. No, 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 no.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million practitioners of common sense and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. Yes, it's time to talk about the Rings of Power again, because out of nowhere, on May 13th of current year, Amazon announced they were going to release a teaser for Season 2, which I'm sure had nothing to do with the May 9th announcement from Warner Brothers that Peter Jackson was returning to Lord of the Rings to produce 2 Gollum films directed by, and I'm assuming starring, Andy Serkis. Not to be outdone, on the very same day Amazon announced the teaser trailer, Warner Brothers followed up with an announcement that they were going to release footage from War of the Rohirrim at a film festival in France. This brings us to May 14th of current year, where yes, Amazon did indeed release a teaser for The Rings of Power Season 2, which we will get to, but 1 hour later, because David Zaslav had his hand over the send button, Warner Brothers decided to respond with a brand new House of the Dragon trailer. The best description of this is from Lily on Twitter. This is the Kendrick and Drake beef for nerds, except with giant IP mining corporations. And it's glorious. But before we get into breaking down the new teasers, because it's been 2 years, let's briefly recap the Rings of Power Season 1.
Salted pork.
It is the second age of Arda, and after Celeborn went out for pipeweed and never came home, his wife, the warrior Galadriel, wandered Middle-earth for 1,000 years looking for Sauron without a map. After easily killing an ice troll in under 10 seconds, but inevitably failing her mission, Galadriel is sent to Valinor by High King Gil-galad for being annoying. But girl boss warrior Galadriel's not gonna let no man tell her what to do, so she jumps out of a ship, swims across an ocean, and runs into a guy named Halbrand who's totally not Sauron. Then they go to Numenor and find out that all the Numenorians are racist because they think the elves are gonna take their jobs. Elsewhere, Doogie Elrond is in a homoerotic relationship with Durin IV,
Give me the meat.
behind the back of his wife, Dwarf of Color Disa. Meanwhile, in the South, we have 2 brand new made-up characters by Amazon, Don Lemonless, who falls in love with the Middle-earth dispensary owner and single mother Bronwyn. And even though there's no mention of them in the Second Age, there's the Harfoots with female Frodo and female Sam, who run into totally not Gandalf and then are pursued by the Nazgûls. In the Rings of Power Season 1, we learn the origins of metals like mithril and geographic locations when a southern tweaker named Waldrig grabs a sword and starts a contraption that was co-engineered by the designers of Milton Bradley's Mousetrap to create Mordor, which was revealed in possibly the most exciting way, a change of font. And the series ends with Galadriel figuring out what the audience knew since the first episode. Halbrand was Sauron, and Galadriel, one of the wisest beings in the history of Middle-earth, lets Sauron go and doesn't tell anybody. And along with Celebrimbor, the master smith of Middle-earth, who had no idea what an alloy was until he met Halbrand, who was totally not Sauron, they forged the 3 elven rings of power at the end. And it should be no surprise Amazon has been radio silent since the end of Season 1, considering every trailer and clip they put on YouTube was ratioed into oblivion, the comment sections were glorious, and the reviews were horrendous. And there's that little issue of losing 63% of their audience as the series progressed. And after watching the Season 2 teaser trailer, it's clear absolutely nothing has changed. There's nothing like setting the tone with your teaser trailer by putting it to music that sounds like a troll taking a dump. Now in the next clip, I don't believe in the history of teasers or trailers there has been a better description of what this show really is.
An evil has returned.
Amazon's The Rings of Power. Accurate right down to that big black sploogey mess that looks like the Venom symbiote crawling from the depths that in the show is sucking the life out of Middle-earth, just as Amazon is sucking the life out of the professor's work. And looky here, Warrior Galadriel is back with her little pal Doogie Elrond and my producer X-Ray Girl. Now, if you look closely, because I completely missed it the first couple of times, it looks like Galadriel and her company are up against the Barrow Wights. Now, it can't be the ones Frodo and company encountered in the Fellowship of the Rings book, but that's never stopped Amazon before. Maybe it's some earlier form that, just like with the Harfoots, through some contractual obligation, they're going to have to rename to the Barrow Wight Supremacists. Or it could be something Amazon completely made up. I have no idea. It looks like the Nazgirls are back.
Guess who's back?
And here is Master Smith of Middle-earth, who couldn't figure out what alloy was until he talked to Hellbrand. And who is he looking at? Sauron?
I think he has been here. I think he's been here among us all along.
Yeah, no shit, honey!
Now, let's not get bogged down with the details that Amazon's Jennifer Salke, Lindsay Weber, J.D. Payne, and Patrick McKay, amongst others, essentially prison raped Tolkien's lore. And one of the many things they completely botched was the forging of the Rings of Power by the Elven Smiths of Eregion by doing it completely out of order. They didn't show any of the forging of the lesser rings, which were considered an essay in the craft. Oh, and there's that pesky detail of Sauron as Anatar not being there because they replaced him with Sauron as Halbrand. But don't worry, they've seen the error of their ways and they're going to bring him back, but he's going to look totally different.
Oh, he tried it.
Yes, this is the cunning shapeshifter Sauron the Great, who has the ability to change into a serpent, a vampire, or a werewolf in his fairest form. Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, using his immense power to put on a wig. Oh, this clever disguise, how will you ever see through it? And I know what you're thinking, dear viewer. There's no way in hell they're going to bring back Halbrand with a wig and no one's going to recognize him, right?
I've had an unexpected visitor.
What?
More on that later. Back to the trailer. There's a big rock falling in Khazad-dûm, leading to a lot of speculation that this may be the Balrog. Remember the Balrog?
Oh, I remember.
Of course, that doesn't happen until almost 2,000 years into the Third Age, but would it surprise anybody at this point? Here's an orc licking a knife. Remember Lurtz from the Fellowship of the Ring?
I remember. Oh, I remember.
Here's Ar-Pharazôn with an eagle. Remember the eagles from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I remember that.
Never mind the fact that the eagles had bailed on the Númenóreans by then. Isildur's back, and it looks like he's going up against a big spider. Remember Shelob? Remember the 3 elven rings that were supposed to be forged by Celebrimbor alone became Galadriel's idea?
We must make 3. One will always corrupt. 2 will divide.
But with 3, there is balance.
What?
Remember the ring verse?
Oh, I remember.
Remember when they repurposed dialogue in the Rings of Power Season 1?
You would make me a tyrant.
I would make you a queen, fair as the sea and the sun,
What?
stronger than the foundations of the earth.
We get to see the return of the elf of color, Don Lemonless.
The darkness did reach him.
I'm not touching that one.
Evil motherfucker, black magic, darkness.
And the dwarf of color, shill favorite Disa.
We kind of touched on it and teased on it in season 1. This time you will see us in all our glory.
Then there's some quick cuts. We see Durin III getting his Ring of Power. They show a fortress that a lot of us thought was Barad-dûr, but actually it's the fortress from season 1, where Galadriel killed an ice troll in under 10 seconds with the greatest of ease. A scene best described by Joel Berry on Twitter. My favorite part of the new Rings of Power trailer is when Sauron makes a face like, "It's Saruman time," and then freezes the kingdom like Elsa from Frozen. Here we have what looks like the sack of Eregion, which doesn't end well, and that reminds me, there's supposed to be a major character there, Galadriel's husband, Celeborn. Well, Galadriel better hope he doesn't come back because she's going to have a lot of splaining to do. But as far as the sack of Eregion within the lore of the show, that all could have been avoided if Galadriel did one little thing. But first, let's hear from the warrior Galadriel herself, what she's going to be up to in season 2.
This season, Galadriel's being driven more by a bigger purpose.
Bigger than hunting for Sauron for 1,000 years without a map?
Yup!
Since Sauron is building his strength.
And whose fault is that, Galadriel? Why, it's yours for letting him go once you figured out he was Halbrand and not telling Celebrimbor or Doogie Elrond. But it looks like that's another thing they're gonna fix for season 2.
He's Sauron.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
But to be fair, it's obvious that Amazon has listened to the fans and they are going to course correct by retroactively screwing up more lore. The bad news is Amazon's behind the times. A year and a half ago, they announced every episode of season 2 would be directed by a woman. Now we're in a time Hollywood believes men can do a better job as women. But let's look on the bright side. At least we haven't heard from any super fans yet.
A lot of talking about my girl Galadriel. Which is better, House of the Dragon or Rings of Power? Well, I haven't watched Rings of Power yet.
At least we haven't heard from any adult pretenders droning on about the show's lore-shattering diversity yet.
She is the first female dwarf that we will ever see on screen. Woo, woo, woo! Disa, the first female dwarf that we have ever seen on any screen.
Nope.
It means absolutely everything. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward in the film.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And at least there haven't been any attacks on the fans yet. Now, we have heard from the shills, but the Fellowship can handle them. And the comments section on YouTube has been glorious. Elrond, we have but only one choice. The wig must be destroyed. Galadriel, no man can fool me. Sauron puts on wig. I am no man. But they were all of them deceived, for another wig was made. Boromir, what is this devilry? Gandalf, a wig, a hairpiece of the ancient world. This foe is beyond any of you. Run! And my personal favorite, I don't wear half my wigs half as much as I would like to, and I wear less than half of my wigs half as much as they deserve. Speaking of YouTube, how about that House of the Dragon Season 2 trailer coming out an hour after the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer and becoming the living embodiment of this meme? At time of recording, Hot D Season 2 is currently number 6 on trending and doing pretty damn well. It's a different story for the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer, which at time of recording is number 5 on trending. 1 ratio to rule them all. And it's not much better for the behind the scenes video, which is ratioed. Let's take a look around the world. Canada, ratioed. France, ratioed. Germany, ratioed. Japan, dislikes turned off. Australia and New Zealand, ratioed. Ireland and Professor Tolkien's home country, the UK, ratioed. Nature is healing. And the best news of all in this tumultuous world, it's the Fellowship, bringing people together. But if Amazon wants to start this all back up again, we'll be ready.
The beacons are lit! Gun knuckles for 8!
And Rohan will answer. Muster the Rohirrim.
Nerdrotic.com.
He was strong in life. His spirit will find its way to the halls of your fathers.